Heads up, this video contains live versions of songs due to YouTube's crackdown on copyright. The majority of songs and music that you will hear in this video is a live version or else an altered version, and it is completely out of my control. I'm sorry for this inconvenience, but please enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for a year-end countdown that I'm actually excited about. That's right, we're moving on from the worst songs of the year to the top 50 best songs of 2018. These are my top 50 choices, so I would love to know what you thought of the year in review as well. Let me know your list down below. If you don't want to do a top 50, I don't blame you because it's very time consuming, I should know. There's no honorable mentions that are going to roll before this top 50 begins just because there are far too many of them. The sheer volume of honorable mentions are going to take up the entire video if I let it do that. Just know that you can follow me on Spotify right here on screen. It is linked down below. All of the year-end playlists are featured there. Please consider supporting the channel in countdowns like this by not only dropping a like on this video, but also subscribing to the channel, and also, if you're able to, grabbing merch, which you can see floating in the merch shelf below this video, or else the second link, or donating directly on Patreon. False copyright claims that are clearly fair use are running rampant right now and are demonizing my year-end content. So if you're able to chip in to help out videos like this that take weeks upon weeks to actually make, then please click the top two links in the description. The UK rock band Don Broco hit us with their new album in February, and this bass-driven escapade Stay Ignorant has a very abnormal pace about it. The shouted and spoken vocals leading up to the roaring chorus is fueled by a life-affirming bass riff that I can't get enough of, and that hook simply explodes like a firecracker. While enjoyable, I've personally felt like the recent albums from indie rock band Cloud Nothing haven't had that much replay value. If my placement of this single, The Echo of the World, at number 49 cements anything for you, it should be that this album is definitely worth your time. They followed the blueprints of their excellent but dark 2012 release Attack on Memory and made great use of metal producer Randy Dunn. Echo delivers a fierce passage into the band's current mindset, topped off by a flaming instrumental break that's sure to stir some sort of reaction in the listener. With the direction that Mania seemed to be going in as an album, I truly didn't see Fall Out Boy making any year-end best list in 2018, yet here they are, charming my socks off and making me feel quite attached to Wilson. This tune features a really great vocal performance from Patrick Stump, making the song a ton of fun to sing along to at all times. Joe Troman actually gets in some louder than usual guitar work, and I'm pretty sure Pete Wentz actually has a real bass line here? I don't know, you tell me. I'm just the guy that happened to fall in love with this song. Oriental influences trickle down the spine of Superposition like ice melting on the first days of spring. It's a beautiful specimen, one that sounds even better when you're in an elevated state of mind, if you will. Even setting aside the breathtaking musicality of the tune, we have lead vocalist Samir Ghadia's borderline psychedelic voice conveying a feeling of the stars aligning. Whether it be love, family, or friends, sometimes the Superposition comes to whisk us away at just the right time. Sophie Allison certainly knows her way around a heartbroken, somewhat passive-aggressive hook. Soccer Mommy captures the feeling of lying in your room with jealous tears in your eyes, staring at the ceiling as Last Girl rattles off a long list of things her man's last lover had that she feels she can't offer. The guitars and soothing drums leave the sting of summer in the air, leaving their impression but not overstepping what this song calls for. Even though January can be quite the sluggish month, punk rocker Jeff Rosenstock decided to spice things up by dropping his new album Post just after we rang in the new year. Your Throat was the choice cut that I came back to time and time again, drilling its supercharged guitars into your skull with maximum force while still retaining that energy that makes you want to shout out loud every single word. I was quite critical of All Time Low flirting so heavily with pop music on 2017's album Last Young Renegade, but it seems like they've learned something from that effort as they bounce back with the tracks Birthday and Everything Is Fine. I chose Birthday for my list because I feel like it's the perfect representation of how All Time Low can make a fun pop-oriented song without losing what makes them special. Cascading guitars and the ba-da-ba-da-ba style vocals creates a loose environment before launching into that wicked catchy chorus that merits plenty of repeat listens. The light strum of Lindsey Jordan's guitar flutters in your eardrum as Heatwave opens up, feeling a bit like a warm patch of sunlight that slowly brings back summer, no matter how cold it may be outside. Snail Mail is the stage name of this young artist, and it's so great to see her having a breakout year. Heatwave finds Lindsey stuck around the house with nothing to do but think about whatever girl she might have a crush on. Daydreaming eventually gives way to sultry, spirited guitars and a genuinely perfect chorus that's gonna leave you with a little piece of warmth. Give me reasons we should be complete. You should be with them, I can't compete. Filthy Frank gives way to George Miller gives way to Joji. The man is naturally likable in whatever form he takes, and while I've not been too keen on some of his recent music, Slow Dancing in the Dark swept me off my feet. Imagine taking a torch into a dimly lit cavern and then a fire spontaneously sparking up out of nowhere. That's the best attempt that I can give at explaining how the synth tones and the vocals go from being melodic to overpowering and just flat out beautiful. Leave it to the illustrious Jack White to craft a modern rendition of a song written by a notorious mobster from the 1930s, Al Capone. Jack likely didn't change much about the original 1930s composition, but I feel so reassured and at ease every single time I play Humoresque. It's by no means the most popular song on this album, but it's a wonderful closing track, and I certainly feel it deserves much more praise. Jimmy Eat World proved that they can still rip with the best of them by dropping their single Love Never, which is a total kickstart to the heart. At this point, they seem to have come to terms with the fact that they're no longer as commercially viable as they once were, and are just creating things that are making them happy and what they genuinely want to make as a band. Australian synth pop with an emotional story arc? Hook, line, and sinker. They got me. I think the term alternative also suits this track, filling up the instrumental with some backing guitars and steady drums. They continue to propel themselves forward as the lead vocalist recounts her struggle to break away from a toxic relationship or perhaps some other traumatic life event. It reaches a fever pitch in the best way possible when the synths start to engage perfectly with the confident soaring vocals, sending the song out on a note of hope. Sometimes a love song just comes along and sums things up better than you ever could. It's a wonderful tune outside of the concept of love, but for me, it's just a lovey, mushy song that myself and my girlfriend found deeply personal as we've been together for almost 3 years now, and this just kinda summed things up. It's not an intense song at all though. It's a swaying alternative rocker with some of the sweetest lyrics and vocals that I've heard all year long. The word underrated is 100% applicable to the young rock band Teenage Wrist, with dweeb being the ultimate expression of their 90s rock meets shoegaze roots come to life. These dudes know how to use their guitar pedals, and the haze that comes through in the vocals is reminiscent of a time period that most have unfortunately forgotten. I'll admit it. I mainly like this song for Drake, okay? He absolutely killed it on this one, and he feels more important here than he does on the majority of his own recent solo material. Take Keith and his production brings the simplicity of 2000s hip-hop beats, which serves Drake and Blockboy JB well. It doesn't try too hard and isn't overcrowded on the production front like so many modern hits are. Drake steals the show here, hook, verses, everything, leaving me to wonder, why wasn't this Drake featuring Blockboy JB? Possibly the mainstream pop song of the year right here, ladies and gentlemen. No Tears Left to Cry. If you found yourself missing the touch of 90s R&B and the emotion and swagger of early 2000s pop, then this should be right up your alley. Ariana played her best card first, with this serving as the lead single from her album Sweetener, and can you really blame her? This is an amazing tune, one that I've played so many times, and it never really gets old, so here's to listening to it even more in 2019. Both funky and slightly unwieldy, the New York rockers Parquet Courts unleashed an eye-opening song in the form of the second track on their album Wide Awake titled Violence. With as spirited as this song may be overall, it might be easy to overlook the message, but the real reminder here is that the violence in America is becoming the norm. We're becoming desensitized more and more every day. Florence Welch has often been quite metaphorical in the way that she writes, but she lifts the veil, so to speak, on one of her band's best songs to date, Hunger. When you open a song with a line as jolting as, "At 17, I started to starve myself," you've definitely raised some eyebrows. She goes on to discuss self-love and overcoming doubt, but all while retaining a decidedly bright melody that's just too lush not to adore.
It takes highs and lows to celebrate you. It takes all my words to celebrate you. It takes all my sight.
For the longest time, this song sat on my mind's back burner. I knew about reviews, but was unfortunately too busy outdoing them to actually come back to this as much as I wanted to. But the infectious synthesizer and guitar kept nuzzling its way into my head, and the more that happened, the more I realized that I love Tankards' song. It helps a bit that this feels like it could have come out in 2013, which was a great year for music, and that Jess Abbott is just incredible with or without her former band Now. Sister Cities was a versatile and mature entry into the discography of pop-punk band The Wonder Years, and The Ghosts of Right Now shows off the utopian blending of their old and new sound. I'd argue that this is the heaviest song on the record musically, while still offering a gut punch lyrically, as Dan Campbell writes of his journey to go visit his cancer-ridden uncle. A fierce guitar solo only adds to the song's reputation as an absolute flamethrower, and it's kept me coming back all year long.
Feeling good, damn, I'm feeling so fine. I'm living on a cloud above an island in my
Josh Tilman has a mind that works in incredible ways, and Mr. Tilman captures a hilarious narrative about himself stuck inside a hotel. While it might be easy to have a good laugh with this one, it is also telling that he clearly did go through some struggles while writing his album God's Favorite Customer. Not all the events were autobiographical, I'm sure, and this whistle-laden pop rock tune won't be leaving my rotation anytime soon. Man, this song is depressing, but it sounds so peppy and cheerful and happy. What gives? Breakout indie artist Caroline Rose had a great year, with More of the Same quite literally leading the way as the opening track from her underappreciated album Loner. Everything is just more of the same thing, she utters, making me reflect on how empty my own life often feels as I'm surrounded by nothing and no one.
This video's gonna get a fucking copyright strike, isn't it?
Well anyways, now that existential crisis is over, on to number 28!
And the time's come to realize there will be promises I can't keep.
In the months following the tragic passing of bandmate and musical legend Chester Bennington, Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park fame used music as his coping mechanism and his way of pressing on. The post-traumatic LP was a great body of work, but I truly felt that Promises I Can't Keep was the biggest standout. The rapping, the lyrical content, plus the guitar and synth combos felt like a great mix of Linkin Park and Mike.
They are, the harder they fall, like dominoes, niggas around the most. When it's my time to go adios, dominoes, like a no Dominicano, way eat the toast, on with platinos, dealing with life in his highs and lows.
I've talked about this song at length in many of my other videos, so I'm not going to be spending a ton of time here, but just know that this is a massive tune. Moby teamed up with the Harlem rapper to rework one of his old songs into the beat and sample for ASAP Forever. I don't fuck with the remix though, stay away from the remix, it wasn't needed and it took away from the original inspiration for the song. It was meant to be something that was more psychedelic and more out there, and it cuts off that ambient instrumental that just works as the outro on the track, so kids, stay away from the remix. Capturing the aura and essence of fleeting youth gets harder and harder as you get older, but synthpop trio CHVRCHES caught lightning in a bottle on Graffiti. Tantalizing synthesizers give your whole body the urge to move, and that freeing chorus delivers a therapeutic relief you didn't even know you needed. The truth is that Buyin' Down has existed in some form for years now, but I'm of the opinion and belief that the studio version Buyin' Down the River is truly the best song on their long-awaited studio album Eat the Elephant and absolutely lives up in every department. Maynard James Keenan gives a chilling performance on vocals, and the guitar and bass tones utilized make them really pop in the mix, especially once the instrumental break lands.
I got a soft spot for being fucked up. I spent years alone and unloved, but I made it out and I'm happy now.
Ironically enough, the trophy-ized song about not caring if people think they're sellouts is probably the most I've ever liked them. The Australian band made a name for themselves on 2016's Chemical Miracle, but distanced themselves a bit from that sound with their single You Can Count on Me. Shout to the chorus, vibe to the verses, and scream along to that roaring bridge. These guys are massively underrated, they put on a super good live show, and I cannot recommend this song enough. We're really on the Outback journey here because it's the second Australian band to land in a row. That's right, I keep up with the Australian music scene.
Big whoop, wanna fight about it?
Ooh, those harmonies, those beautiful vocals, those shimmering guitars. It feels a bit like 70s music married this band middle kids, and this is their lovely offspring. They're relatively unknown in most parts of the world still, so trust me on this one. Go give it some love. Joe Mulheron, known by his stage name Nothing Nowhere, raps and sings about his real-life struggles, and it's often very depressing, tough to digest, and all too relatable. But on his breakout hit Hammer, he actually sounds like he's kind of proud of himself. The way the beat is intertwined with the guitar absolutely lets us know that it's unmistakably Nothing Nowhere, but the vocal approach here is kind of vastly different. The chorus sticks like glue and will not leave your head. Not that you'd want it to, but it can get kind of distracting if you're trying to get stuff down and you're just over and over again like, all my shit bang like a motherfucking hammer. Hey, fair warning.
A piece like a gun to my head, coming quick to the blast of shit. Misunderstood, set burn. Fuck what you think and fuck what you heard. I feel betrayed. You can keep the praise and all of that fuck shit need to get away.
Joba didn't have to go that hard on this verse. He didn't have to, but he did that. He did that for us. And here he is, with Brockhampton at number 21. Who am I kidding? They all went hard as the Brockhampton collective here, pinning down their raw talent and their versatility as a group. Don't even get me started on that buzzing production work here with multiple change-ups, because this is god tier stuff, guys. You don't want to sleep on this. Steady acoustic guitars dominate to start before giving way to a blast of electrics and of course Connor Mason's electrifying voice. Gods went underrated on the latest Nothing But Thieves EP, as I saw plenty of praise being tossed to the other 3 tracks, but this one, for whatever reason, not so much. Government and other gods in life are discussed at length here, feeding you a sense of paranoia as if someone's watching you at all times. Who's that? Who's behind me? Oh, it's just my vinyl. I fell off the Metric hype train for a few album cycles, but I genuinely feel as though this is their most solid outing since at least 2012's Synthetica. I stumbled across the video for Dressed to Suppress one day, and the love was instantly there. Metric brought back the guitars in a big way, and Emily Haynes knocks it out of the park with her charismatic vocal performance. Don't let the synth-heavy, spaced-out intro fool you. This song uses its time length to actually build up and then rock the hell out.
I wanna drink pink lemonade, watch a movie trailers Tillich late. And let's remember all the ones that we think are going.
Stir in elements of classic rock, a carefree attitude, and James Bay's sultry delivery, and
Baby, you got a stew going.
this is without a doubt one of the most enjoyable songs of the year. So cut loose and freefall your mind right into the zone of Pink Lemonade. Since I limit myself to one song per artist on my top 50 list, I had a huge middle debate going when it came to Mitski. Do I put on A Pearl or do I put on Washing Machine Heart? Those were my 2 favorite tracks, and they were pretty much hand in hand, and we can obviously see which song won, but I do have to give a special shout out to Washing Machine Heart because you are a synth pop banger. Anyways, A Pearl is almost ominous in a way as the singer doubts her viability as a lover. She takes the idea of a pearl rolling around in her mind to describe why she feels so indecisive, all while being backed by these guitars that eventually join forces with a brass section to make this song feel almost cinematic. Some of you might not like this, but the Voids took the guilt knife and they just stuck it in and twisted it on this self-described glam metal rager, Pyramid of Bones. Julian Casablancas not only details the suppression of minorities and white privilege, but the band bring this heavy-hitting guitar and thrashing drum performance that changes pace multiple times throughout. Prepare to rock out, but also prepare to have that seed of thought planted deep within.
2,000 feet, 1,000 steps. I let it all sink to 1,000 depths. Soon black balloons pop. Let it be the day the pain stops.
According to several sources, emo rap is the fastest rising genre on Spotify. Now, Denzel Curry doesn't exactly always fit that description, but I do feel as if Black Balloons meets the criteria. Denzel is incredibly sharp and poignant with his writing style, and his guest features 12lin and Goldlink bring just the right touch to round out the track. The use of guitar as the primary piece for the instrumental reminds me of some of my favorite Joey Badass and Kendrick Lamar tracks, so if you're looking for some great hip-hop that doesn't follow the typical tropes that come with the genre, then this is for you. Basement wowed with their emo and grunge-inspired Beside Myself in October, with so many of the songs feeling like standouts to me. I chose New Coast for the number 14 position due to its sweltering but steady guitar and its painful sting lyrically. Andrew Fisher writes songs that often feel simple but complex at the same time. Here, the band rides that guitar tone out extremely well, throwing in lyrics that remind us that many out there are struggling with feeling wanted or even necessary to those around us.
They say that I am the sick boy, easy to say when you don't take the risk, boy. Welcome to the narcissism.
Grab your torches and pitchforks and shove it if you've got something to say. 1, I never said that I hated the Chainsmokers. In fact, I have loved songs from them in the past, like Roses, Don't Let Me Down, and 2, just because I might not 100% be on board with everything a group or an artist is doing doesn't mean that they can't drop a banger, and that's exactly what the Chainsmokers did with Sick Boy. It grabbed that dial and ripped it all the way to 11 with the social commentary and the over-the-top bombastics. It works out way better than you would probably ever expect, and on nearly every level, and it was most definitely one of my most played songs of the year, so even if you didn't like it at first, be sure to give it a second spin.
Out of context, at the Mariner's apartment complex, I ain't no candle in the wind.
Now that I think about it, a Lana Del Rey song hasn't touched my year-end best list since Blue Jeans did it in 2012. But she easily earned a spot here with this soothing ballad, Mariner's Apartment Complex. As this one clocks in at number 12, we have Jack Antonoff taking the reins on production this time around, and we can actually hear Lana's voice high in the mix. That's all I've been asking for. That's all we've needed, and thank God, it's here. The light guitars and very distinct vocals keep you hypnotized and comforted, almost as if you leave the world and go into a different realm for the 5 minutes that you're listening.
Lately I'm feeling like the only tree breaking through the canopy, hoping for sunlight, leaving my roots behind.
British pop-punk and post-hardcore band Trashmode had a breakthrough with their excellent record Crown Shyness over the summer. But the real star of the show wasn't just the loud, anger-fueled moments, it was the moment that chose to stare emptiness dead in the eyes. Their vocalist gives a heart-wrenching explanation of how depression can distort our perception, making us feel a disconnect to the world around us. As someone who struggles with these feelings myself on a personal level, Crown Shyness brings tears to the eye because it's just so dead on with the descriptions that are given. Don't dismiss this as just another token ballad from a post-hardcore or a pop-punk band, because this is the real deal. Stand Atlantic's Bonnie Fraser has one of the most commanding and downright persuasive voices in modern pop punk, and their debut single for signing to Hopeless Records, Lavender Bones, fucking slaps! That is all of the information that I feel like sharing. Go hear the song for yourself, because trust me, it would not make my top 10 if it wasn't incredible.
Rapper turn rapper can morph in a puff. Dance contest for the smokers. I predict snow owl roker. If you know, you know.
Rap's drug kingpin pushes all the right buttons on If You Know, You Know, the Kanye West produced opening cut from his Daytona record. The beat is a rager, Pusha T bodied every bar in sight on this thing, and the replay factor? It's unbelievably high, especially for a tune like this. I mean, I've loved some Pusha T joints in the past, but this one just excels among the best of them. Many would argue that there were better songs all over the 1975's new record, but I would defend and counter you with saying Love It If We Made It absolutely deserves to go down as one of the best songs of the year. I'm not denying in any way that there were other great songs to be heard on the album, but this song undoubtedly felt so important down to a molecular level. Violence, hatred, and many other horrible things spread just as fast as the actual wildfires that ran rampant in 2018, and Love It If We Made It adds a hopeful but realistic voice to the conversation. Look up from your phone for a second and remember what life is like outside of the context of being constantly connected. Are you able to think of a time that didn't involve your phone? If not, then pay close attention to the sad reality that MGMT's synth-pop rager confronts us with on Time Spent Looking at My Phone. I'm guilty a lot of the time too, but I work hard to fight this urge that seems to constantly be there thanks to social media, to see every notification, to instantly gratify myself all the time. Or second option here, you could ignore the message of the song I suppose and just enjoy the slightly reverb-tinged vocals and the splendid synth line that carries the entire song. Your choice really, but I of course recommend the first option. If you missed out on the chaotic, raging fun that was Idols and their top-notch hit Television, then I'm here to give you a brief PSA that should sell you on it. Hi, I'm John from ARTV. Is some worthless dick yelling out that you're not good enough or making you feel less than? Well, forget that. Love yourself. Punk rockers' idols are here to help out by ramming down anything in the way of your path to happiness. Be sure to stream it now.
Had you in my coat pocket where I kept my Rebel Red. Felt I was invincible, you wrapped around my head.
Well-layered, multi-part songs that don't feel overly bloated or unnecessary are quite rare in certain genres, but thankfully 21 Pilots actually pull things off and sip their way to victory on Chlorine. The glossy Paul Meany production aids Tyler Joseph's bouncy vocal, further propelled by several well-timed changes of pace. Chlorine is used as a metaphor for being a musical artist, but not being able to stop as you feel the need to give and make more and more and more. So please, don't actually sip on straight Chlorine, kids, because it'll kill you. This PSA brought to you by Swimming Pools of America.
It's killing me, the inability to pin humility. Why don't we make a bunch of fucking songs about nothing and mumble and bucket? I'm going for the juggler.
Up-and-coming rapper Joyner Lucas teams with veteran Eminem for this incredible track from Kamikaze. The production on this is just filthy. Boy Wonder and Jahan Sweet's use of bells and other various sounds makes this feel oddly fitting for the Christmas season, except much darker, of course. Sinister is probably the best word that I could use to describe this collab, as both Joyner and M definitely bring the heat with impeccable flows throughout, and Eminem in particular gets kind of vulnerable before toughening back up and exiting the best song from Kamikaze.
You float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. You're everywhere I go.
One fateful early morning when I just couldn't get back to sleep, I saw that Boston Manor had uploaded a video for their new single Bad Machine. I may have started the song half asleep, but I finished it with chills down my spine and the urge to get up and do something. Boston Manor hit a new level with this one, flexing the power of producer Mike Sapone and of course their own natural talent. The UK lads describe a fictional version of the town Blackpool, and the raucous guitar and drums throw things into an absolute frenzy.
Good in a glass, good on green, good when you're putting your hands all over me. I'm alright with a slow burn.
Magic and music can be hard to capture on tape, but country artist Casey Musgraves makes it look way too easy sometimes. This time it was on Slow Burn, a perfectly paced song about taking your time and letting the world just turn instead of trying to control every little aspect of the things that are out of your control. This acoustic guitar-driven gem reminds us all to enjoy the small pleasures of life and to maybe be a little bit kinder to those around us.
See the state I'm in, it's crawling in my skin.
Let's see a show of hands. Who would have guessed that I would have placed this at the #1 position at the top of the totem pole for the best songs of 2018? To be honest, I should have seen this coming with as many times as I've revisited Lemon Glow throughout the year, but it kinda snuck up on me. With production assistance in the form of Sonic Boom, the duo Beach House crafted a song so utterly magnetizing that not only do I never skip it when it comes up on shuffle, but I often find myself seeking it out, which is rare with as much music as I take in. The wavering electronic beat paired together with a drum machine that apparently they've had since 2012 and some stellar synthesizers makes for an absolute ecstasy-style track, and it keeps me paying attention so closely that it's almost like I'm watching a metronome. Back and forth, up and down, jumping around. This song is just straight up sexy, and Beach House, I'm hypnotized. 4 hours worth of shoots later, I've almost lost my voice, and we are finally done with the top 50 best songs of 2018. What did you guys think of my list? Be sure to sound off your thoughts down below, and consider dropping a like on this video, subscribing to the channel, and supporting directly by picking up some merch. Of course, it's the holiday season. Get some for yourself, treat yourself, or else treat a family member, a friend, or somebody else that would enjoy some ARTV stuff. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. I'm sorry if this one ran way too long on time, but I had a lot to say about my favorite tracks this year. If you would like to see the full top 50 playlist, along with my favorite songs of the year that include plenty, including hundreds of honorable mentions, then it's also linked in the description. All of my year-end countdowns can be found right here, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.